Okay, so I just got out of the learners and I got it on first attempt. Out of 25, I only got one wrong. Super, super proud. That is the licensing office in Lincoln, and I am on my way to being a driver. Woo! How's it, everyone? And welcome back to my YouTube channel. And yeah, it's been an interesting week and an interesting couple of developments, because as you can see from the opening of my video, that I actually wrote and got my learners. So I'm so happy for that. And by having the learner's card, which you get, it's sort of like your pre-driver's license, because in America, your driver's license is your ID. So with my learner's card, I've sort of got identification now until I can get the real big girls thing. And yeah, I am kind of happy but also kind of traumatized, because I had my first driver's lesson this week with a good friend to the South Africans who is doing driver's lessons, and unfortunately I had a mental breakdown because coming to America, I knew that driving was going to be a new challenge for me, purely because in South Africa, we stick to Commonwealth driving rules where we drive on the left-hand side of the road, but the steering wheel is in the right-hand side of the car. And in South Africa, we also all drive stick shift, because buying an automatic usually costs a lot more money, and a stick shift is a lot more, or a manual car as we call it in South Africa, is a lot more easy to come by, more affordable as well. So the driving lesson was an absolute shit show, if I have to use my French. And yeah, it was not good. I got into that vehicle, I drove, I did a few rounds in a parking lot, and the parking lot was already a problem because my left side driving went left all the time. And obviously in America everything is on the right hand side of the road, so which means that we have to, in a parking lot, in a any parking environment, when you're like at a mall, whatever, you're going to be driving on the right hand side because everybody keeps right. So that was a nightmare. Then getting onto the road itself was an absolute nightmare, because the vehicle is unmarked, and in South Africa, if you just want to show other drivers that you're learning, all you do is you just stick a big fat red L in the back of your window, and yeah, you're good to go, because then everybody knows, learner in front of me, just sort of navigate around. In America, you cannot do that. In America, only a certified a driving school or driving instructor is able to take a learner out on the road, and that put a whole lot more stress on me, knowing that I've got to be behind the wheel and watch for other drivers, watch for the police, and that made my driving lesson an absolute nightmare. And over and above that, because I'm so used to driving stick shift, in this automatic, whenever I have to brake, my left foot just kept going for the clutch, because with a stick shift you clutch and brake, okay, and to stop the car. And it was sad for me, and I could not do it, to the point that when I got home, I looked at my hubby and I was oh my word, and I cried and I cried and I cried and I snorted and I teared, and I said to my husband, as a qualified trainer, I've been training adults and teaching adults, especially behavior skills, for more than 20 years. And with grown-ups, it's very difficult to learn new behaviors. And I said to him, I'm going to have to apply everything I did in the training room with myself, and that I would have to now unlearn every single thing that I've known for the last 30 years of driving, because in South Africa I started driving at the age of 16, and I was an amazing driver. So amazing that my mom and dad let me drive with my mom's automatic to my part-time job every weekend because I had a part-time job in high school, and I could drive every weekend on a Saturday and Sunday to my part-time job without a learners. And when I got my learners at 17 and eventually got my license, actual license in South Africa at the age of 20 because I wanted to buy a car. My dad refused to get me a car unless I got the actual license. He didn't care how well I drove a car or maneuvered a motor vehicle. He insisted, no driver's license, I'm not taking you and getting you financing for your vehicle. So I got my license, and it was happy days for the last 30 years, navigating my little Kariki and eventually my Toyota Hilux all over South Africa. I drove in every single province as a trainer because I had to travel all over South Africa. So I drove from small towns, large towns, big cities, all the big cities in South Africa. I could drive with one arm tied behind my back, literally. So doing this, it was a huge culture and emotional shock for me. And I realized that I have got to unlearn every single thing that I've known. And not only unlearning the whole aspect of the technical aspects of driving, because at least moving a vehicle, I know how to do that. But unlearning all the bad habits that us South Africans gain over the years of driving. For example, in South Africa, we don't use stop streets as stop streets. A stop is just a yield and go, because of the whole crime aspect. Everybody's gotten into that, but especially women, when we drive, you don't stop at a stop street. It's yield and go. Don't care if a pedestrian is there, don't care if there's a cyclist. We just yield and go. We also don't care about pedestrians and cyclists in South Africa. I don't care what anyone says, it's the truth. Cyclists and pedestrians have to watch for the motor vehicle back in South Africa. However, here the rules are completely different. Here, the pedestrian and the cyclist is king. So you are constantly aware of a pedestrian, a cyclist. So when you stop at a stop street, there's always a pedestrian crossing and then the stop line. So you have to stop at the pedestrian crossing and then you roll to the stop line, check for oncoming vehicles, and then you go, which is a completely new concept. And these things are knee-jerk reactions. If you've been doing it for 20, 30 years, it's uncanny, and it's the truth. It's the way behaviors set in when it comes to the human brain, and doing the same thing every day for years and years. So that aspect. Then there's the aspect of buckling up, because in South Africa we literally only need to buckle up when we see there's a roadblock or blue lights ahead. Then it's like, oh, poofy, cops, pull on your seat belt. And even if a cop pulls you, the most he's going to do is try and probably get a bribe out of you because, oh, mommy, you're not wearing your seat belt. Oh, officer, Hoya Chocho, and he's going to probably let you go. But in America, belting up is essential. So thank goodness, because we've been taking so many Ubers since we got here. In the beginning, I just would get in and my husband would be constantly, baby, buckle up. And I'm like, oh, hell, my South African habits, But these days, the minute I get into an Uber, I belt up. So that habit is already starting to ingrain in me, which is fantastic. Then another thing that is going to be a huge bit of an issue for me to unlearn, and these are things that come with driving for so many years, is the whole concept of, like a little road rules that we don't have in South Africa. Road rules like, we stick to the middle of the lane, and here you generally have to hug the line in the road when you're busy driving, and that is such a, my brain just cannot, it couldn't the other night with the first lesson, as well as when I approached an intersection. When you get to that intersection, and I have to, because in America I've been telling myself, you right tight, left wide, but when I got to that major intersection here on Kornaska Highway, all I want, and there was no oncoming traffic in the right-hand lane coming, I just saw left lane turn down there. It was, my brain just locked, and it was like to a point where I kept apologizing to the gentleman who was doing the instruction. I was like, I'm so sorry. It's just my South African brain I can't do this in one lesson and just undo it. And I'm not gonna undo it in 2 or 3 lessons. I can't do it. I'm admitting it to myself. I had to admit it to God in the universe that I need help, and I need serious help. And I was in a state of absolute snotentrana. I was crying, I was in tears, I was sobbing the whole Monday evening when I returned from that driving lesson. So I have made the decision that, unfortunately, driving is not going to be something I'm just going to be knee-jerking into here immediately. Unlike my husband has been working for the last 15 years overseas in the Northern Hemisphere, where they all drive on the right-hand side. So he's got international driving qualifications. So lucky him, he's doing his license this week, and he will have his drivers. And by having a driver's, we'll be able to eventually get a car. But that's not coming for me soon. The good news is, I spoke to my husband and I said to him, I need to do driver's lessons, because one of the other aspects that concern me greatly is the law. In South Africa, as I said, the law really doesn't give a hoot when it comes to enforcing driving law, unless they want to really get something out of you. And I've used to get in the habit of, instead of buckling up and instead of all the other little things, I got in the habit of driving around in South Africa with at least 300 Rand in cash in my wallet, and I used to call it chocho money. Chocho is a vernacular term in South Africa for bribe. So I used to literally drive with chocho money, because I knew that would get me out of any little infarction, whether I was going a little too fast, whether I wasn't buckled up, or whether my bakkie was a tad overloaded like it sometimes was, especially in the last few months since I was moving off the farm. Unfortunately, or fortunately, let's put it that way, no, fortunately, the law does give a hoot. Okay, they give a good hoot, and not only that, they do a very good job of enforcing the law. And unlike in South Africa, where we had the police and we had metro police enforce the road legislation, here the cops do it. And when I discovered that, according to the law here in Nebraska, and I'm sure it's like that in most of America, and after watching many body cam videos, the last thing I ever want to hear is in America is, good afternoon, ma'am. Can I see driver's license and registration, please? Because the minute that happens, even if the cop is kind and nice and is just giving you a warning, unfortunately, that warning goes on your record. And I had a clean driving record in South Africa, maybe a ticket or two, but just paid the tickets and that's done. But my record itself was clean. I've never had an accident, never bumped someone, I've never driven under the influence. And that's a big deal. Whether you are sober as a judge, whether if you just made a small little infarction like changing lanes without using your indicator or blinker, as they call it here. So it's even and a cop sees you, they're gonna pull you. Let alone if a fellow American driver sees you and dials 911 to say there's a driver driving unlawfully on the road, you're gonna get stopped and pulled by the police, and I don't want that. I am deathly afraid of being pulled by a cop. So I've made that decision that I will learn how to drive. I will pay out of pocket to learn how to drive, and I need to drive in a marked vehicle that says student driver at my old age. So I'm starting lessons on Monday, and I'm quite excited to start the formal lessons to get on the road to driving. And I will crawl, before I walk, before I drive, so there's so many different things. From the language, I now have to think in miles per hour instead of kilometers per hour. I need to now think in feet instead of meters. It's just so much to unlearn so that I can relearn. And that's part of the process, part of the mountain that I'm going to climb so that I can attain a new skill, because I'm going into this as if I've never done it before. And it's interesting, it's exciting, and I can't wait to show you the video of me walking out of the DMV saying, I got my driver's license, because then I know I did it and I achieved it. And I'm going to do my license here in Lincoln, where they're extremely strict, and I will do it. Even if I have to do it once, 2, 3 times over, I will get my driver's license. So I'll probably be taking you all along on this journey of me climbing this driving mountain, because driving is something I really loved. It was always a symbol of my independence. It was a symbol of my freedom. It was like flying in a motor vehicle. I love driving. I just loved it. It was part of who I am. I was always the driver in the family, and I loved that. And it was a big thing for me to bury that part of myself. And I did that Monday evening, and I woke up on Tuesday morning with a very different attitude that I'm going to take this from square one, because I'm deathly afraid that I'm going to get to an intersection one afternoon, and maybe just from a day of feeling homesick, I'm going to knee jerk, I'm going to be in the wrong lane, and I might hurt someone, and I don't want that. I don't want to hurt someone, I don't want to get into trouble, and I want to do this thing the right way. So the good news is that on Wednesday, my driver's learner driver card came in the mail, which was like a symbol of, yes, you're ready to start learning now. So learning is the road I'm going to take. So it's those little things. And then once I am driving my own car, I'm going to miss a couple of things from South Africa, like just being able to drive and not worry about a cop. I'm going to miss that. I'm also going to miss Ufrans and Tabang at the gas station, the garage. Who fills your car up and you just go out of the window. 2 bars, all tires, my brother. Because in America, that's another thing I'm going to have to learn. I'm going to have to learn to put gas in my own car and, do my own tires. But being the Leo girl that I am, I'm going to do it, and I am going to learn new skills. And that's why coming to America is another journey, not only for us giving our kids a future, but for my husband and I also learning new skills and being able to, just do new things, do a new thing, do something that you thought you knew all your life, and now it has to shake up and change a bit. So, that's my little lament for the week. That, you see all the cars behind me, I can't look at a car without thinking, I used to drive. And it was so appropriate, even with my t-shirt I'm wearing today, that it's a license plate. Oh boy, the driving thing, it was like a worm in my head, a thorn in my side this week. But knowing that I'm starting my driver's license on Monday makes me happy. And it is the day before my birthday, because it's my birthday on Tuesday. And then I'm going to the Lincoln Fair to celebrate the fact that I've turned another year older. I've made another trip around the sun in celebrating my first birthday in America. And that, I'm learning a new skill. And learning new things is good. It's good for the brain, it's good for the soul, and it's good for everyone involved. And it's good for my kids to also see that I'm not afraid to get out there, get on the horse again, get on the bike again. 'Cause I'm sitting and watching them cycle here around the parking lot, getting used to their new bikes. And we're all learning new things. They going to a new school, Dad, and I feel like America's one big new school. And it's all about learning and working hard, doing the work. So thanks for listening to my lament, and I will speak to you on my next video. Bye, everyone.